Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devin Decker, and joining me, my host companion and Dr. Manhattan's dong, it's Sejan Sarowick. How you doing, Sejan?
Hey, man, thanks. Thank you for the call out.
If it's any consolation.
I would say, I appreciate Dale so much for the amount of time that she's put in for making all of those cards for us. I really do appreciate it. And, man, anytime you could make the joke, go for it.
She's like, I figured he'd like it. I think it kind of works for me. And, like, she doesn't know. It's not like she's in the room creating the artwork while we're putting together the very special episodes. You had a lot to say about John's penis.
I mean, I feel the movie had a lot to say about it. So
I think that the movie had less to say than the book, if we're going to be completely honest. Of course, what we're referring to is our last very special episode released this past Thursday on the Watchmen film. The latest, yeah, sorry, not last. We're still doing very special episodes. They're a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to 77 coming out in December. But yeah, also, the reason why I'm making sure that we address it is I need to fix a little boo-boo from the last episode, which was an excused absence episode, because I said that the HasLab for Tron had started on 9/11. It actually started on October 9th, but it was on the European website for me, so it was their weird, like, how they do time. Like, it was their date stuff.
Yeah, that still would be wrong, because that would be November 9th, but yeah, I get you.
Right, but yeah, I looked at it quick. Well, I heard about it on a Thursday. So then, like, when I looked, I'm like, so it must be this Thursday. I don't know if they got it announced earlier over there or something stupid like that, because it was like, I think it was at an event there, but it was at New York Comic Con. I just read it wrong. So I'm the idiot. It started on the 9th of October. So I'm just a moron. I'm owning my mistake. But one of the other reasons why I'm owning the mistake is that with 22 days, 12 hours, 47 minutes, and 9 seconds as of this point in the recording, of the 10,000 required backers, Sejan, how many do you think they have? We're not going to make this a weekly thing, but yeah. As a reminder, they had
10,000 is what they need?
They need 10,000. As a reminder, they had 1,024 in the excused absence episode, so like about a week and a half ago.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt when I say this, but I'm going to say about 33,000, a nice third of what they need.
They have 1,094 backers.
Oh. Damn.
Yeah. I don't know. Just, and again, we're not going to talk about it all the time, but I did screw up. And it's also because, like, I talked about, I met with my Hasbro friends on both September 11th and October 9th. So just, like, seeing it real quick and where the 9 was, and I'm an idiot. Full disclosure that I was an idiot about the Tron HasLab, but not as big an idiot as Hasbro was for doing a HasLab based on Tron in 3.75-inch scale.
Well, doing the HasLab that they did, I will give them, look, Tron, I think that's a great pull, because Tron has always done better on the merchandise side of things than it ever has in the theaters, right? So I don't think that they made a mistake in choosing Tron. I think their choice in what they created was just kind of just not worth it.
Yeah, and that's why I said the 3.75-inch scale, because if this were the Tron, like, cast in 6-inch scale with 6-inch bikes and that diorama piece, and it was the $260, I'd have already backed it. It's the fact that it's that Kenner Star Wars size figures. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, I say that as, like, I find myself inching further and further to being a completionist with Joy Toys 1/18th scale Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line. So who the fuck am I to talk? I'll be honest with you, but you know, we're just a couple of people talking here having a show. I think that's. Oh, and then the last thing is my mother's birthday. We're recording on my mother's birthday, so by the time you've heard this, it's no longer her birthday. But wish her a belated. Say happy belated birthday, Dorothy Decker. She'll like that. She'll like that. She's been having a good birthday. Football also on Sunday. We record on Sundays for people who don't know all the background stuff of the Slay Report. So we did a lot of celebrating yesterday because of the fact that, a lot of Decker traditions, especially post-COVID, is just like you're in control of the TV the whole day. But football is football. And, having a father who grew up in Texas, football is still a religion for him. So... You can have the TV before football and after football. But for football is football. So we've already done some celebrating, and we got a nice thing planned for after the recording. So, yeah. But I'm just making sure. I think that's all the, heavy-duty, big picture stuff that's going on in my life. I'll have some other stuff to talk about later, but that's for later. So, Sejan, what are you bringing to the table for this week's episode of the Slay Report?
So, as of 7 a.m. yesterday morning, I rolled credits for the first time on Borderlands 4. Without getting too spoilery, the big bad of the story is the Timekeeper. Anybody that's seen any of the advertising sees that. And you definitely roll credits after you defeat the Timekeeper. But that game pulls some interesting moves to keep you playing afterwards. You'll feel like this can't be all it is, and sure enough it's not, but they roll credits as you defeat the Timekeeper, and then all of a sudden there's a little bit more game left, a lot of bit more game from what I can tell.
Well, I have not gotten there, I'm not there yet, but I have to imagine he's the Timekeeper, so upon his death he just reverts to a time where he's still alive.
I don't, like I said, I don't want to get too spoilery because I know there's people out there that are still playing it for the first time, and I know there's some people that are not struggling to get to the end of that game, but are taking their time. Borderlands has always been a kind of a slave to two masters. They're the two. There's the group of fans and gamers that just want to dick around, run around. They're not there for anything more than the blood and guts and just pinpoints on a map, right? Then the other side of that is, and a very much smaller side of that, I think, if maybe Devin thinks differently, but are the people that are there for the lore and the concepts that are going on in the story, right? The kind of person that feels, I can't go do those side missions right now because this main mission is requiring attention, right? Even though there's no actual timer, right? You feel like there is one because you're invested in the story of what's going on, right? So Borderlands has always had to balance the kind of the ability to appease both audiences, right? And so there's definitely it feels like there's definitely this part where they rolled credits and it was permission for if you're that kind of gamer, if you're done with us, you're done. It's cool. But there's all of this other stuff now to do that's very lore heavy. It's not like they were we told all the story stuff, now go wrap up the silly shit. No, there's still some pretty important story shit that happens. But to their credit, you can skip the credits pretty much instantly, and it rolls right into the next thing. It is a wild choice. I am very curious to hear what you think when you experience it, Dev.
Right now, I gotta finish 2 games. I have to finish 2 games. I am actively playing, I'm gonna say 5 games. Let's see if that's actually correct. Borderlands 4, Pokemon Legends Z to A, Hollow Knight, Silk Song. There's got to be Dragon Quest 3 because I want to play Dragon Quest 1 and 2. So I'm in the middle of I consider Dragon Quest an active game too. So that's 4. I guess it's just the 4. If there's another one, I'm being a total dick to that game, and I apologize to you, game.
Well, here's what I'll say about Borderlands is kind of my for right now. I mean, I'm in for the long haul on this game. I enjoyed the hell out of playing through it. I have every intention of going through and trying new stuff. I have every intention of continuing with Vex, my lead character here. I consider myself a Vex main at this point, and I will die on that hill. But I'm definitely going to try a couple of the other characters for sure. Plus, there's going to be extra content and shit. But you, Dev, don't have to necessarily make this a priority game because I will probably still be playing this in 3 months when you are ready to play it.
Oh, yes, and I know that for a fact because that's what happened with Borderlands 3 was when you're like, hey, you would have finished Borderlands 3? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds like a thing to do this afternoon. Because, like, I go hard when they come out, and then they always seem to come out right... Oh, I feel like I got to beat Hyrule Warriors. The Age of Calamity, because I kind of want to be there day one for Age of Imprisonment, which I think is this week, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy, but is Age of Imprisonment this week? November 6th. Yeah. Okay, so I think I'll focus on one other game and starting Age of Calamity. This sounds like a terrible way to live my life. High five.
Is Imprisonment Switch 2 exclusive, or is it Switch 2?
Come on. So let's talk about that. It says platform Switch 2. I think it is Switch. Yeah, it looks like it is a Switch 2 exclusive game. So, yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah, now I feel like I have to do it. Crap, I gotta beat Age of Calamity. I could probably do it. That seems like a game that if I start today, I'll finish by Wednesday. We don't have any, like, recording this week, right?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But the other thing is that
obviously.
Age of Calamity, if I remember correctly, in the little bit of time that I spent with it, because I was a little thrown by the fact that it wasn't as structured as what was the one before that?
Hyrule Warriors, just
Hyrule Warriors. Yeah. Because it was structured so differently, I was very thrown. So I had a really hard time with Calamity. So I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about it, Dev. But from what I remember about that series, there's a lot of extra stuff you can do, but you don't have to do. So what I'm getting at is if you were to just kind of just mainline it, I'm sure you could get through it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if I just handle the main storyline stuff, if a Linkle-esque character exists, though, they will get all of my attention because I'm very excited for that. Linkle is still the best thing that Koei Tecmo has added to the Legend of Zelda series. Mostly because it's lore that, like, Nintendo is afraid to play with. Like, when you look at something like Wind Waker, and the whole thing is whenever kids on our island turn 11, they have to start wearing the outfit of the hero in case they just happen to be the hero. Like, finding out and learning the story of, you know, the Neville Longbottom of that universe is kind of fucking cool. And Linkle is, you know, she's capable. Like, it's like she's a little doofy. She is an anime stereotype. And we're going to talk a little bit about anime later on in this episode. But as far as that, like, she is capable. Now, whether she's capable or not because I'm the one controlling her, that's another discussion. But no, I feel like what she brings to the table, dual-wielding crossbows like John fucking Wick. I was going to say, the crossbow move. Like,
yeah, no.
Like, she's doing crossbow kata. Right?
And there's a little bit of, like, athleticism to what she's doing too, if I remember correctly, right?
She's
like
been trained.
A little Black Widowy in the way that she
it's like crossbow kata. It's like gun kata what she does. Like, her movement tech is very, I'm doing what are those things called? Cartwheels. I'm doing cartwheels while shooting my crossbows so that anybody who's nearby is getting kicked in the face. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I really like that style of game. I have been a fan of Dynasty Warriors since the first one that I played. And the fact that Nintendo has given control over Legend of Zelda and Fire Emblem to Koei Tecmo to create Dynasty Warrior-esque games, like the Fire Emblem one, Fire Emblem Warriors, is like one of the best ones of those that I've ever played. Because it also somehow... How familiar are you with Fire Emblem is a question that I just asked in our 459th episode.
Relatively. I'm not, like, going to sit here and profess, like, a deep love for the series or knowledge of the series, but, like, when they show up in Smash, you know, I'm always excited.
Yeah.
Big swords and big capes, I'm down.
Because the big thing about Fire Emblem is the rock, paper, scissors style thing. And I want to make sure that I give this properly. swords beat axes, axes beat lances or spears, and lances beat swords. So that's like a very interesting part of that, because it's a real-time strategy game. It's a real-time strategy game that I first played in Japanese and just had no fucking clue what was going on. But then,
Yeah, but it's Pokemon rules, right? Yeah. Like, water beats fire, fire beats plant,
Yeah, so it's sort of like that. And, I liked Advance Wars, so I'm like, I want to try this one too, because it's a fantasy version of Advance Wars. And the fact that they somehow take sword beat axe, axe beat lance, lance beat sword, and put that into a Warriors style game is just awesome. That you have generally you'll be in control of at least 2 characters, and it is an idea of switching to the character who will be best equipped to fight the mob of enemies who are there. And I dug that immensely.
Well, there's even some of that even in Hyrule Warriors, because there's definitely some that you come up against where you're just like, I need somebody that can do quick attacks in short range, right, in order to get rid of these mobs. But then you have a bigger guy, and you're like, I need a heavy hitter who might be a little bit slower. So that's always kind of an element of it. The way that one's front and center though, because the whole Fire Emblem of it all. Yeah.
The fact that because I thought that. Because you're not wrong. There is always that thing where, occasionally you'll have the 2 characters, and it is the idea of who's the better character to use, right? Or all that. But that they actually went that extra step to adapt it from Fire Emblem, it impressed the crap out of me. And the storyline is really cool, because it's all, multiverse of Fire Emblem. So, Marth meets his daughter and things like that. It's really interesting. I recommend Fire Emblem Warriors. And I own Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Flames, I think it is. It's the 3 houses version of Fire Emblem Warriors. But I have yet to crack the plastic on that one either, because I'm just the worst. Because I buy Warrior games because I'm like, I'll get to a point where I need a little break. And then I never take that break, as I get stuck in other games. As the last 2 days I have spent with Vampire Survivors, completing the 2 new content packs that they dropped.
Yeah, I was actually really excited about. What was the last one that they did?
The newest one or the one before this?
The newest one.
So the newest one there, it's the Anti-Up DLC, and it's a collaboration with Balatro. So
that's what it was.
I finished that this morning. That was not as in-depth as some of the other stuff that came out alongside it, because they did some Emerald Diorama stuff. They added a couple of regular levels, but the big one was Ode to Castlevania got an adventure mode. So if you have the DLC, and right now, not sponsoring anything, just sharing, the Vampire Survivors is on sale on Steam. Everything is dramatically reduced price. The regular game is back down to the $3.99 I paid for it when it was in early access, and I think most of the DLCs are $1.25, if not $1.50. So if you haven't, that may be
the sale that's ending tomorrow. Just as a heads up.
Okay, cool. I wasn't aware of that. When I downloaded the Andy Up, I saw that everything was on sale, and that made me happy because
I have to imagine that being Vampire Survivors, it's part of Steam's Halloween sale that they've been doing all week. And if I'm not mistaken, the Halloween sale ends on November 3rd. So if you hear this thing first thing in the morning or whatever.
Well, I mean, what the heck? I'll look it up on Steam. Wait, I have a computer in front of me, and make sure that people can know this stuff. 30% on Vampire Survivors on Steam. It ends November 4th. So you have a day from here to hear it.
Cool.
God, Ball X Pit. I kind of want to play you, but I don't like. It's like ActRaiser. I love the action in ActRaiser. I don't hate building the town. Also, I'm already in the middle of too many fucking games, so I'll wait on Ball X Pit. But yeah, so I lost what I was talking about. Oh no, Vampire Survivors. So yeah, the Balatro stuff is awesome. The new level that is basically walking around the playmat of Balatro is awesome. And the characters being the 4 well-known Joker faces of the game is also really cool. But the Ode to Castlevania Adventure, it reskins all of the standard Vampire Survivor levels to be Castlevania themed. And It was a blast. I ended up getting all 81 like progress points last night while I was watching the World Series. Oh yeah, because the World Series ended, well, I guess this morning technically. How you feel about that outcome? Do you care about baseball, CJ?
I think I care enough. Like this was I think it's really cool that this was the first World Series, the first season to ever start and end outside of the United States. Apparently,
yeah, Japan and then in Canada.
So yeah, Game 1 was in Japan, so like it's a first in history.
Yeah, and the Dodgers back to back. I was rooting for Toronto, and that's mostly league allegiance. Like, I'd like it if the American League ended up winning the World Series, if it can't be the Red Sox. Also, I still haven't really gotten over the betrayal of Mookie Betts getting traded by the Red Sox to the Dodgers. Like, fully understanding that it was the Red Sox who did it. But he's now a 4-time like World Series champion. Like, that's awesome for Mookie Betts. And it was nice seeing Ortiz like be like congratulations on it and talk to him after the game. There were some calls like everybody was like, it was a great Game 7, and it kind of wasn't. It was kind of like there were great moments, but overall the game itself was not that engaging. There was a one-act play that happened in the 6th inning that was incredible. Like, the guy tried to bunt and got 3 balls, and then he got a strike after that, and then he swung after getting his second strike, and he hit it, and it was awesome. Like, it was just like the tension and the drama that people talk about in baseball, because that's what baseball's really about, is the fact that, like, yes, it's kind of slow, but in that, like, deliberately paced atmosphere, sometimes you get these amazing little scenelets. I don't know why I have to relate everything to entertainment, but
I do also know that I think game 1 of the final series here, was that the one where they decided to throw a Jonas Brothers concert right in the middle of it?
Yeah, I don't remember. That did happen during one of them. Let's make sure that we got that right.
But they apparently after like inning 2 or whatever, they were just like, let's have a 30-minute
it was concert. During Game 2.
Game 2.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. What is
kind of crazy. And then there was the 18-inning game. Like,
yes.
What, like, okay, that's fun. I don't know how to feel about that. Because I was watching that one until it went into extra innings, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. Game 3. Sorry, I'm tired. And last night, like, I thought it was gonna end. Like, it seemed like that, and it just 9th inning shenanigans. And a couple of, like, that real close play at the plate. If, as his foot was off of it. Initially, I thought he was safe and that the Blue Jays had won it. And also, I don't know, do you have any Blue Jays memories?
No, not really.
Okay, so as I'm sitting there, and it's the same ballpark, I'm pretty sure is when I visited there for a band trip when I was in high school. And the first inning, there was a hit, and the thick part of the bat broke, went into the stands, and I watched it hit a dude in the head. Like, that was, like, a really cool thing to watch. And then I'm like, it's not going to get better than that. So
dude probably has brain damage.
Yeah, right? Like, it's just like, I don't know if anything better than that's going to happen. So we snuck out of the stadium and drank at a bar. Because, like, I mean, I was only 16 at the time, but the drinking age 18 when we were over there. So, like, and they were just serving me and we were drinking. It's like, the game's on, so we'll know when we have to head back to the stadium.
Nice.
Like, that was a good time. That was a really good time. And then, like, we just met up with the buses and left, and we were completely fine. Good times. We had some good times. So, like, it's cool to think of, like, that stadium is where the World Series was played. I don't know.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole season though has felt like one that is like not very exciting. You know, there's definitely had its moments and certain things to talk about. Like I said, you know, like the idea that this was a World Series that finally lived up to its name.
yeah, that is true.
Right. I
can't believe that Ghost player isn't in the official like rules of baseball now. How they handle extra innings, not in the World Series, but in the regular season, that you start with a ghost runner on second to like make them go faster so you don't have 18 inning games. Like I do wonder if an 18 inning game in the World Series, like right now, because like it has to start, like you probably don't get rest if you're like the rule makers and the people in charge of baseball. Are we going to consider putting in, because they basically played 2 games of baseball in game 3. Like, not now, though, no, because, like, doubleheader rules, now if you have a doubleheader, it's 2 7-inning games, which I think is fucking weird, too, because, like, I guess, as long as everybody, I guess, has a doubleheader every season, that seems fair, but, like, it's just weird. It's such a weird rule to me. So, but that they did that, I wonder if they're going to consider bringing forward the ghost player rule. I think it might be ghost runner, actually, that is the actual term. But that they have that like person already on second. And the idea is that if you have a runner on second, it's easier to score. And both teams get that, right? So like you could each be scoring a run every inning based on that guy who starts on second base. So it still could keep it going. But, like, I don't know. It does make it a little bit more exciting. I will say that. Like, when I saw that Game 7 was going into extra innings, and come from me, baseball fans, you can crucify me. I get it. I love the game. I think it is beautiful, but I can't watch, like, the whole 9 innings unless I'm in the stadium. Watching at home is so hard.
I gained more appreciation for it once I started getting deeper into playing D&D. And I realized through, like, you know, like, movies like Moneyball, but also, like, my dad being in fantasy leagues my whole life and stuff, that, like, if you think about it in the numbers and, like, that's what you're there for, and that tension is, you know, this is one of the few things in baseball, one of the few moments in baseball that is random is when that, you know, but it's the most important one. It's when that ball is thrown and does the guy hit it or not, right? And like that idea that is going to then dictate a whole shift in numbers and all that shit. Like it becomes when you think about it as a game of math, this is how I connected with baseball. I'm not saying this is how everybody should, because I'm sure there are people out there that are much more into the athletic side of things, for sure, right? But what finally clicked for me was thinking about it in that, and what that also comes with is less of tying yourself to an individual team, because it becomes much more interesting to be looking at individual players that way. So like if you're considering that side of things, like. I am very curious how the Ghost Runner rule fucks with a lot of that math by already having a guy on second, you know, changes odds and chances across the board. And so to that point, I could see a lot of conservative baseball fans being very against the idea of that being involved in the World Series.
Yeah. And again, it's not. Like, currently it is only in the regular season. Once the playoffs start, the Ghost Runner rule goes away. But the idea of, like, it being about preserving pitchers and being ultimately about safety, like, at these high-stakes games, that's when safety should be preserved most of all. Right? Because it's a marathon. Baseball is a marathon. Wonderfully summed up in that joke in Basketball, where they're like, as we enter the 15th month of the regular season. Like, I love that joke in Basketball. That a season of basketball is longer than a year for some reason. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a long time. And I get the math of it. I mean, the problem with me is that I grew up going to Fenway. And then, like, trying to watch at home, it is nowhere near as engaging. And it's also, like, I'd love to go to, like we had the Paw Sox, right? And I could get tickets to Paw Sox games. Basically, if I, like, threw a rock, someone would be like, hey,
give those out like candy.
Nice throw, kid. Here's some tickets to see the Paw Sox. And it was cool to have, like, the farm team for the Red Sox, like, in our state and, like, something that I could go to. But, like, it just wasn't the same as like the thrill of the big game, the show. So like it never really worked for me. I think it might work for me a little bit better now because they're doing like a lot more to make the minor league, like the AAA sort of games, feel more like Major League Baseball. Like you can tell that they have a little bit more of the pageantry and such. God, I sound like such an asshole. I bet. I'm so sorry to anybody. Again, feel free. Grab a couple of bats, nail them together, and crucify me if what I say just sounds like I'm an asshole. I get it. I fully understand it. But, like, I remember doing the Macarena at Fenway and then getting on the Jumbotron for that and just having a great time. Because it was the same day that I beat Soul Edge at the arcade on my first quarter playing Soul Edge. And that lifetime love of the Soul Calibur series.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was just a weird day. And it's like these iconic days. But like at home, when there's other things to distract me, then like, because when you're in the stadium, what you have to pass the time is the game. So you pay attention to everything. They always make jokes whenever they do, like Abbott Elementary just did a baseball episode. And, like, Gregory was all excited to, like, keep score. And everyone's like, oh. But, like you said, like, the math of it, like, those are those people. That's a way for them to stay engaged with the game. If they got to write down 3-4-3 for the double play that just happened.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just, I don't know. Like I was invigorated sitting down and actually watching Game 7 of the World Series. And it's not like I haven't watched innings of all the other games that have happened in the World Series in 2025. But it was nice to just sit and like, this is my night tonight, is watching this. And that's because my mom wanted to, right? It was part of her, it's my birthday, I want to watch the World Series. I don't care if it's a blowout, we're going to watch every inning. And so I'm like, all right, then I'm dedicated to this. I'm here for this. When everybody fell asleep, did I maybe do a run of Vampire Survivors? Yes, I'm not going to lie about that. But again, it's because I'm home, so I have 1,000 distractions. It's not like being in the stadium, where really your only distraction is food, and honestly, stadium food just enhances the experience. Right? God, I don't think I've ever been to a ball game where I'm able to drink, though. I don't think I've, like, because, you know, it used to be easy to get tickets to see the Red Sox before they started winning in 2004. And I know that, like, they've had some non-winning seasons since the riot at URI. God, what a time to be alive. But, like, that doesn't mean that prices went down.
There are some dark things in our past.
Yeah. I'm really excited for when we get to hang out in person again. Because, like, I've been thinking about some of the dark things from our past as our future looks ever darker and darker. And this idea of just, like, I think we've just been living in a tunnel our whole life, buddy. Like.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I've been to McCoy since I've been able to drink. I know I've drank at McCoy, but I don't think that I ever got anywhere near a major league park once I was past like 13, man. You know, because like you said, they started winning, shit started getting expensive, people started wanting to come again. Yeah, you know, and then I moved away. So like, and I don't know, I've never lived near a baseball team worth going to, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean. I don't just I wish I lived in Toronto. Like they were in the World Series, right? But they had the potential to be a team that went from last place to winning the whole thing. Like that was a big part of their narrative in the 2025 season. But like they have like $2 Tuesdays, or they have like nights where you pay like $10 and you just get all you can eat with that as well. Like they were a team that like had those issues with getting people to come. So I've gotten to take advantage of, like, in addition to my big Blue Jays story about it was a band trip and we ended up like sneaking out after watching a guy just get cracked in the skull. There's been some times where I'm just like visiting Toronto and it's like, oh, we could go see a Blue Jays game tonight. It's going to cost us $5. And I don't mean each. I mean, for $5, our entire group is going to be watching the Blue Jays. And, like, it's a fun thing to do. I love being in a ballpark. Right? I'm nowhere near these people who have like seen all 33 national ballparks. I don't even know if that's the number anymore. I know it was the number when I talked to a guy who was doing a podcast about it. I met him in the Douglas Movies line. The first Douglas Movies I saw in New York, my first 12 Guests of Christmas. And he told me his whole thing about like, yeah, I'm touring all the ballparks and this whole thing. And that like really interesting. I've been to a lot of them. Like, I'm glad that I've been to the Seattle Mariners park because it's cool because Nintendo owns it. And you could see the Nintendo influence in that stadium. Like, it used to just be a thing that we do. That, like, because my father is a huge sports fan, right? Like, if you've listened to this show, you know how much I care about, like, video games and movies and stuff. That's my father with all sports. So, like... And luckily, I'm not this person who, like, hates sports. And honestly, on some level, I don't get... Like, I wonder... Like, I was thinking about... So, Don Mattingly, here's a cool thing, right? Let's tie this back to... I mean, the show's about everything. So, if we wanted to talk about baseball for the next hour and a half, you suck it up. It's our baseball episode today.
Yeah, you know, it's really good getting aggressive with the listener. That's good radio.
But to bring it back to like the more entertainment stuff, the episode of The Simpsons, I want to get the actual name, the softball episode of The Simpsons. It's a season 3
talking
episode.
Softball with Mattingly and Canseco?
Yeah.
Griffey and his grotesquely swollen jaw.
Homer at the bat. It is season 3, episode 17. So Don Mattingly, right, and his goddamn sideburns, he's still associated with the LA Dodgers. Right? He's still associated with the game of baseball because he was a Yankee at the time that episode came out, which I think was 92. Like, just, I have it all in front of me. Yeah. February 20th, 1992 is when Talking Softball, Homer at the Bat came out. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy that somebody from Homer at the Bat is still active in the game of baseball. Right? Like, that's just insane to me because there were clearly members that I knew when that episode came out, like Roger Clemens. You know, I love Roger Clemens, even though he was kind of a piece of shit, right? Because he was a Red Sox. Jose Canseco. I have a Jose Canseco ball somewhere, not a Jose Canseco bat. I would never pay money for that, right? Even if it was a 2-for-1 special, pal. But, like, I have a Burger King did, like, commemorative baseballs for whatever regions, and I got a Mo Vaughn and a Jose Canseco baseball that are, like, still down here in the trophy case that I can see from the studio desk. So, like those were players that I knew. Obviously, Darryl Strawberry, Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, like, by the time, it's not like I didn't see Homer at the Bat when it was new in 92, but when I saw it in syndication, Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the biggest fucking people in baseball because, you know, he was playing for the Seattle Mariners and thus became the face of Nintendo's fucking baseball game on the Super Nintendo. Right? Steve Sosha, Mike, like all those names. I knew all those guys because growing up with my father loving baseball. And so last night when they showed Mattingly during the commercial, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go through all the other players in that episode. I'm pretty sure that Don Mattingly is the only one who's now still associated with the game. And he is, which is crazy, right? That there's that weird cultural connection to The Simpsons. Something from, God, what was that, like, are they in season 38 right now? What season of The Simpsons?
Yeah. 37 or 38.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Simpsons current season. Current season of The Simpsons is season 37. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, so freaking 34 years ago, there was this episode of The Simpsons. And then it got me thinking about, like, how do people feel about this episode of The Simpsons? Because, and again, come for me on this one, I'm making generalizations. I am generalizing right here. It really feels like we come from a generation of people who don't love sports. Like, obviously there are still sports fans, right? Because there are still players. Yeah. It's not like with the millennials, sports ended because nobody cared about sports anymore. But it does feel like the target audience for The Simpsons from our generation were probably not sports fans. So I wonder how that episode hits for other people our age.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, you know, people, it's hard because growing up, I definitely had people around me my age that were way into sports. And right. there was a large contingency of soccer players around us. He just happened to have a very large.
Remember when they tried to make soccer a thing in the 90s? Like, what was that? Sorry.
Yeah. No, everybody was on a soccer team, right? But I had a bunch of people around me that were into baseball. I had friends that were, you know, into the idea of going to school to play these sports when they were doing it. But once we got to college, I don't know many people that really like adhered to the whole like sports personality, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's anybody around me that was the sports kid, you know, and like, so there wasn't a large group of them either. But I do think that for as much as our generation may not seem to be into individual sports like other generations used to be, we do know that like large events are still seeing more and more people than they ever used to.
True.
Like the Super Bowl has not necessarily been the greatest of cultural touchstones the last few years, depending on, you know, all the different ways you look at them. But they've seen a fuck ton of eyeballs.
Yeah, they see a fuck ton of eyeballs, but that's an interesting thing to look into and just examine right now in this whole discussion, because there is this sort of weird, I get to say I was there of it all. Like, it's an event to be a part of. Like, certainly for the Chiefs, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, the fact that, like, I was at a game that Taylor Swift was at. Like, there is a pretty heavy contingency of people who attend those games just for that reason, right?
And like, that's not to say that there are not also people that are there that appreciate Taylor Swift and also appreciate the game, right? Because I think that sometimes that idea gets lost in this conversation, is that like somehow if somebody's there for Taylor Swift, that means that they're only there for Taylor Swift, and it's just like, no, I could be here for the game and be happily surprised that Taylor Swift is in the stands too. But there is also, but there are more tickets sold when Taylor Swift is in town than there isn't.
Yes. And that's just a fact. And I think there is that thing. There's that like status of like, oh yeah, I'm going to the Super Bowl. And like they sit in a box and they don't watch the game, but they get to say that they were at the Super Bowl. And that means something, like it's a status symbol. Like the status symbol connected to sports certainly disproves the idea that like sports have waned in some sort of popularity.
Well, like, and I mean more like even at our level of, you know, I know plenty of people that are not into sports that still go to Super Bowl parties.
Yeah,
you know, because it's just that's just the thing to do that weekend. There's a reason for us to be getting together, and that's what it is that our generation and younger are really focused on the idea of like meaningful events being the reason that we do these things. You know, a lot of it is to get away from the bullshit times that we always had to get together with family and friends when it was just like that we didn't agree with, you know, like Easter was just a pain in the ass because it was 3 days of people being super religious around me and we weren't religious people, you know? So like once we didn't live at home, I didn't really stick around for Easters, you know?
I mean, heaven. True heaven for Devin Decker was when I got that job at Blockbuster and had the perfect excuse for not attending family events. Like,
right.
But it's Easter. But I have to work. And like, not only am I working, I'm getting time and a half. I'm going to get time and a half because it's a freaking Sunday regardless in Rhode Island in the 2000s. But like Wednesday Christmas, right? We talked last year about how weird Wednesday Christmas is. Wednesday Christmas wasn't that weird if I could work all Christmas Day, right? And we didn't open till like 11 and we'd have like short hours. It'd be like an 11 to 9 shift and like two poor schmucks would be the ones who'd have to work on Christmas. Sign me up, Dad. Like, I'm here. Because my parents were like, no, work. You'll make time and a half and like you'll avoid all the family stuff that makes you hate these holidays. Like there's this idea in the house that like Christmas is a difficult holiday for me, and I think that comes from the fact that I can't go work at Blockbuster on Christmas anymore. Like if I had to really examine it, working at the video rental store on Christmas was awesome, and I fucking miss it.
Yeah, like, but there's this idea now with us that we only do these things that we want to do now, right? We're only paying for the things we want to pay for. And this seems to blow other people's minds, other generations' minds, right? People are just like, why are millennials killing this industry? And it's because we're not fucking interested in it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know it was our duty as patriotic Americans to hold up the napkin industry. Like, fuck off.
Sorry, like, Applebee's. I love it when it's all you can eat, but other than that, like...
Yeah, but the problem with sports is that the whole season aspect of it kills a lot of that like feeling of necessity. So like people are like, yeah, I'll catch the next one on a lot of this shit, right? Until you get to like the big events, you know, when you get into like March Madness for college ball, or when you get into, you know, the World Series for baseball, like then suddenly people are just like, okay, for this couple of weeks I'm invested, I'm here, I'm involved, right? And more and more people are like that, and you know, baseball, no sport really has the ability right now to turn away people like that, right? They've got to cater to those people too.
Yeah. I mean, you know what bums me out? And this happens, I'm noticing this more and more, when like hockey is on and they change the channel at the bar. And it's not to another sporting event. It's like to something just like bullshit. But like this, I thought this was a
Rescue
sports
911
bar.
or some shit.
Whatever's on Fox that night, or like a game show or reality TV. Because I'm like, no, I was watching that hockey game. Were the Bruins playing? No, but goddamn, there's nothing like a cold beer at the bar watching a hockey game. Like it really is like a moment that I cherish. And I'll be watching it, and then they'll change the channel, and I'm like, I'm not going to say anything, right? Because clearly I was the only one watching this. Because nobody else is upset. But what if we're all upset and nobody's saying anything? No, but you're also right about like like even I said, right? Like when it's at home, I'll watch a couple of innings, and then I'll probably do something else, and then I'll switch back for like the end of the game. Right? Because I'm not there. I'm not connected to it. I understand that level of removal not being in the stadium where the event is happening. Mm-hmm. Or the arena or whatever. Like it is. And it kind of bums me out just that little bit. I'll admit that. Ooh, this was good. This was good talking about sports. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, talking about something we know nothing about, so I'm sure we got everything wrong for the last hour, but that's cool. Yeah.
To address the giant elephant in the room, I think one of the reasons that we didn't see a lot of the sports guys is that we got degrees in theater. See, Jen? I just want to like make sure that we mentioned the fact.
Yeah,
that
but no,
it's not like we were in
there
sports
are definitely
management.
Theater people that are also very much into sports.
Oh,
like
that's. It's just few and far between. There were not a lot of... Remember the Super Bowl party that you and I went to that cost the Patriots their undefeated season to the New York fucking Giants? I still hold it, man. I still think it's our fault. If we had not left Decker Base, I think they would have won. But we went to that party, and then we were the only two people there who kind of like cared about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's undeniable moments in our life related to sports. All right, now let's talk about something we know maybe a little bit more about. Anime! Is it anime? Is that the proper terminology that we're supposed to use for it?
I believe earlier you called it anime, but
anime. Oh my god,
just put that Island R in there just wherever you can.
Dude, I gotta use the R's when I remember that.
Anime!
Oh my god, it's anime! It's Pokemon!
That's the name of the segment, everybody.
Oh, jeez. We talked about it last episode because it happened. Chainsaw Man had its theatrical film release. Chainsaw Man, the movie, Resi Arc. And I decided I was going to see it both dubbed and subbed. I was going to experience it both ways. But that did mean that I needed to watch the series dubbed, because I had never seen the show dubbed before. I had only ever watched the subtitled version of it. So I'd like to, if you'll indulge me before we talk about what was the number one movie in the country last weekend, talk about my experiences with the dub of Chainsaw Man. Do you know anything about Chainsaw Man?
No, I was actually just about to say, why don't you give me, aka the audience, a brief rundown here of what we're in for. I also understand that trying to sum up anime concepts in like a short, succinct way is impossible. So like, I'm not holding you to anything.
I mean, I'll do it as best I can. They live in a world where, you know, American Gods, where things are like, is it American Gods, the gaming thing that had the movie, the show recently? With David Tennant and
no, that's Good Omens.
Oh, Good Omens.
With David Tennant.
Good Omens is what I'm talking about. Maybe it's American Gods. Regardless, it's the idea of like modern things that are worshipped like gods end up having a god associated with them. So it is American Gods, right? So in the world of Chainsaw Man, there are devils, and they're essentially that same sort of idea. Like, there's the Bat Devil, there's the Leech Devil, there's all these devils. And the big bad of the Chainsaw Man universe is the Gun Devil. Because the Gun Devil, associated with September 11th, in universe for Chainsaw Man, killed 1.6 million people worldwide on the day that attack happened. All responsible to this, like, mighty Gun Devil. So they live in this world where there are devil hunters, and you can be a public safety devil hunter or you can be a private sector devil hunter. If you get public safety, you're fighting the worst devils that are out there, but you're getting pretty solid benefits. Like, I really like that they make it bureaucratic. The bureaucracy is real in the world of Chainsaw Man. So prior to this all happening, we meet Denji, who is in debt to the Yakuza because of his father's actions. His father died owing them money, so they look at this kid and they're like, all of his debts are now yours. So when you first meet Denji, he's missing an eye, he's missing a kidney, he's missing a testicle, because he sold them to try to lower his debt to the Yakuza. And the other thing he's doing for the Yakuza is that devils are worth big money. Like, their carcasses are worth a lot of money. So he'll hunt devils for the Yakuza, or the Yakuza. I think that's how you're actually supposed to pronounce it. I'm saying it weird. So he's hunting devils, and eventually he does that with this little devil that he has as a pet called Pochita, who's like a dog with a chainsaw. He's more like a Pokemon, really, than anything else. It's like it's if the chainsaw part where you hold the chainsaw were a dog. And he can pick him up and pull his little tail, and it becomes a full chainsaw, and he uses that to fight the devils. So in the first episode, the Yakuza is like, hey, you, go fuck yourself. Like, we're done with you. We've sold our souls to the zombie devil for more power, so we're going to kill you. So they kill Denji, and they chop him up into a bunch of pieces, and he's dead in a dumpster. But then Pochita speaks to him, much like Pikachu speaks to Ash in Pokemon, like Pikachu's first movie. And he's like, Denji, I don't want you to die. I'm going to give you my heart, and that will bring you back to life. So Pochita becomes Denji's heart, and so now Denji's alive again. Everything that was missing is restored, and he has a pull chain in the center of his chest. So he comes out of the dumpster. He's still in like the throes of the zombie devil. He pulls that chain, and he grows chainsaws from his hands like Wolverine, and his head becomes a chainsaw. And that's why he's called Chainsaw Man. And so
this is fucking buck wild.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right? This is all in the first episode, too. Like, you talk about, like, heady concepts. The Gun Devil doesn't come up till later, but, like, origins of Chainsaw Man, all the first episode. So he ends up killing the zombie devil. Public safety comes out because they heard that the zombie devil was there. Find the house just full of freaking carcasses and corpses. Everything is just decimated. And there's Denji like just asleep in the middle of it. And they wake him up and he stands up and he collapses into the arms of a woman named Majima, who is like she's high up in the public safety Devil Hunters like organization. And she's like, I'd like to keep you, like, and he's in love immediately. He's 16 at this time. It's this beautiful girl who's like finally giving him the time of day. So she's like, I want you to come work for us. I kind of want you to be like my pet. And he's enamored because he's a beautiful girl. He's never had any attention from a woman before. So he agrees to work for public safety as like this special weapon. So public safety is broken into 4 special divisions. And Special Division 4 is the experimental division. And what that mostly means is it's comprised of fiends, which are what Denji sort of is. And that is when a devil possesses the corpse of a dead human in order to like have sort of semi-permanence within the world. But Denji's not that. He doesn't smell like a fiend. Like they talk about how his scent is both human and devil because it's more of a symbiosis between him and Pochita. But there are fiends that exist and they're all on Special Division 4. So he joins that as the Chainsaw Man. And he meets other fiends and all this other things that are going on. And it's about him, that woman, Majima, basically says that if he can get enough pieces of the Gun Devil that they can capture and kill the Gun Devil, she'll grant his wish. There's a lot of wish granting in modern day Japanese stories. Like the fact that like Pokemon Legends ZA is like, if you come A rank, we'll grant your wish. And it's like, is that what we want? Like, wish always feels like magical to me, right? Like you'll get what you like.
There is definitely a mystical implication there. Yeah. I have to say that in a world where there are devils running around and people could be possessed and turned into walking chainsaws, I believe that she probably does have magical abilities.
Oh, we find out about her magical abilities, but I'm going to keep those a secret for when or if you ever watch this, because when we find out what Majima's powers are, crazy. But in addition to fiends, humans can make contracts with devils, and that's like based on the whole like deal with the devil. So like for a small part of yourself or whatever the devil demands of the human being, they can set up a contract. So we meet like Aki Hayamada, who becomes Denji's supervisor in public safety. He has a pact with the Fox Devil. And I'm not sure what his contract is with that, but he also has a contract with, I don't know, it's like a nail devil. Like he has a sword, but whenever he uses that sword, it takes away part of his life. And eventually that's so diminished how much time he has left in the world that he makes a contract with the future devil, which essentially gives him like spider sense. And for that, the future devil now lives in his right eye.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
So it's stuff like that. Or Himeno, who is my favorite character. Himeno is probably my favorite character in the whole thing. She is wonderful. She's just a great character. She's not written to be like she's not a Mary Sue, but she's also not like a damsel in distress. She's written like a fully realized character, and I really dig that. And we see like why a lot of her, like someone might hear me say that and be like, wow, that's real reductive of this character who like has sort of like an alcoholic personality a little bit, but like we learn why she's an alcoholic. And honestly, you fight devils for your fucking job and see how, like, yeah, I'm going to want to have a drink, right? When I can party and celebrate life, I'm going to celebrate life, and I might go to excess. I'm sorry about that. I'm not drunk when I'm at work, right? I'm not a functional alcoholic. I'm drinking when I'm off the clock. That's important to me. I don't know. She has a contract with the Ghost Devil, and for that, she actually gave up her right eye. So she has an eye patch over her right eye because the ghost devil is in possession of her right eye, so that she can use the ghost devil to help fight other devils. Because, like, there are devils that are not all about conquering the world, just kind of about, like, I live in the world and this is what I represent. That's why more the American gods of it all, like, they're not all evil. Like, some of them they're called devils, but honestly, they're just sort of like omnipotent creatures.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's when you get into a lot of East, like, Asian cultures, where the idea of demons is not the way that we think of demons, right? And so, there's a lot of depth there that is not necessarily the first thing that you think of as a Western audience.
Right. That's super true. But yeah, so that's the whole thing. And eventually Denji is teamed up with a fiend named Power, who is the blood devil. And she's an attractive woman, and Denji's like, he's manipulated by her because if you help me complete this task I'm trying to complete, I'll let you touch my breasts, because, like, that becomes his goal in life, is to touch breasts. So it's a little bit like coming of age 16-year-old super horny anime style story, as opposed to a little bit slice of life, a little bit chosen one, a little bit like we do something fantastic but we just treat it like a job. It's like, it's an interesting thing. And it's really good at, like, the theme song has a lot of, like, movie references in it and things like that. They're aware of popular culture. But I have
What is the hook with the film then?
So the movie the first season ends, and it actually teases it. And so the hook of the movie is the fact that it is adapting this whole storyline where Denji, like, falls in love with somebody his age. Like, he meets a girl and she's, like, flirting with him, and, you know, he's 16. She's also 16. They are the same age. And so while he's like, my heart belongs to Majima, who, like, by all accounts is an adult woman. Like, I want to look up her right now and see how old she is supposed to be, because her exact age is unknown. She has the appearance of a woman in her 20s, but then based upon the manga, she could be possibly over 150,000 years old. I hate when I Google anime. Because, like, there are 12 episodes of Chainsaw. Spoilers for Chainsaw Man. I didn't see it coming. But yeah, so it is the fact that, like, there are, I think, like, over 30 manga, like, issues of Chainsaw Man, or like volumes of Chainsaw Man. There are 12 episodes of the show, and now the movie. And what the movie tries to adapt. So, like, one of the reasons why it's a film and they do, like, the opening of the movie, spoilers for the movie, the opening for the movie, Majima, they've just defeated, they, like, have a real good victory, and they get a huge amount of, like, gun devil flesh. And the thing about the gun devil flesh is that it's drawn to itself. So if they're able to connect enough gun devil flesh, like, collect it out in the world, essentially it will become a way to track the location of the actual gun devil, because it will be drawn to the main body. Sort of like, once it gets big enough, the main body will want this part back. Because the gun devil, what it's doing is it gives parts of itself to other devils, and if they ingest it, they become super powerful. Which, like, all sorts of metaphor there and symbolism as to, like, guns make you feel more powerful. So, like, that final episode, they beat up a samurai sword who is very similar to Denji, where, like, he has swords that come out of his hands and his head is a samurai sword, but, like, horizontal, and they have a fight, and it's interesting, right? It's basically what every Marvel movie does, is Iron Man's going to fight the evil version of Iron Man. Captain America fights the evil Captain America. That's what they do with the first 12 episodes of the show. And not the whole thing. That kind of, like, kicks in around the 7th or 8th episode, where they introduce Samurai Sword as, like, this big bad that Denji's going to have to take down. But in defeating him, they find a huge amount of gun devil flesh, and now they can track it. So the movie is right now we're trying to find the best hunters in public safety so we can mount an attack on the gun devil. So that becomes the whole thing. The Fiend power, because of that fight, she ingested too much blood. So like Hellboy, let's compare it to Hellboy. Her horns have grown like crazy long and her fangs are longer. So she has to be kept in a facility to drain some of that blood and lower her power, because the fear is that if she gains too much devil power, she'll be uncontrollable. And she's already kind of difficult to control. She's an egotistical narcissist who's also like a bigoted racist. She's kind of one of those like necessary evils to fight worse evils. But if she becomes too powerful, she'll become one of those worse evils. So, double-edged sword, that character. And that whole thing is to basically take her off the board, because if she existed, then the events of the movie could not happen. So I don't love that, right? I'm never a big fan of when a movie or story has to remove a character because that character would just mean nothing could happen. But they do that. But then, because Denji doesn't have anybody and he's going to have a day off while they assign him a new buddy or partner to go fight devils, Majima asks him out on a date, and their date is to spend the whole day going to movies at the cinema, which like that sounds like a perfect day to me. But really, that kind of feels like meta commentary about the fact that you're watching a movie about Chainsaw Man instead of the show, and like how that's different. So like the first movie, they're like, you could tell that it was expensive to make. I just wish that they had put more time into the script. And like from moment one, the movie is so much more gorgeous than what you're getting like in the week-to-week episodes. So like they have that moment. And then they have the thing of like, I kind of hated, like, it was obvious that they were trying to make you cry. And like it becomes this really, I'm like, my favorite part of the Chainsaw Man movie, this is my like jerk thing that I said to people, was the first half hour where they sat and watched 7 movies that explained to me exactly what was going to happen in the movie. Because they kind of like talk about those moments, and then, that last movie and that final scene made the whole day's worth of tickets worthwhile. Because they have a thing about like, I feel like 1 in every 10 movies that I see is actually any good these days. Like, so there's some interesting commentary in that. But then after that date, so Denji's like, his wish has been, his idea was that the wish that he'll ask Majima to fulfill for him is to have sex with him, because he doesn't want to be a virgin. But after that date, his wish becomes, I think I want her to be my actual girlfriend. I don't want it to be just carnal, our relationship. And then he meets frickin' Rezi, the character of it. She's a woman woman his age. She has like purplish hair. She works at a cafe. They get stuck in a phone booth during a rainstorm. They're like using it to weather the storm because neither of them have umbrellas. And he makes a good impression on her and she thinks he's cute. So she invites him to go to the cafe that she works at, and they build this little relationship. And she's making all these comments about, it's so weird to me that like you don't go to school, that the government allows you as a 16-year-old to put yourself into these dangerous situations. And he's like, yeah, but my life has never been better. My life before I did this stuff was pretty much just as shitty, but now I have 3 meals a day. I have a futon to sleep on. And she's like, those are basic standards of life. You need more out of your life than just that. So they break into a school at night and they have like skinny dipping. And by all accounts, the biggest complaint from this movie that can you look up the Rotten Tomatoes while I tell this? Because like,
yeah, sure.
When I last checked it, it had 100 and a 99. So like this movie people are really enjoying the film. And like I said, it was number 1 at the box office in its opening weekend domestically. So the big complaint seems to be that they toned down the sexual content. Like, Rezi is very sexually forward with Denji. She's flirting with him. She's making comments about that stuff. And I believe, like, I have not read word one of
97.99.
97.99. So it has gone down, which is not surprising, right? Because more people are seeing it. But it was at one point 100 from the critics, 99 from fans. And I think the reason that 99 is that fans were upset because I believe the Rezi arc in the manga, at least based upon the reaction, like, her and Denji actually do engage in a sexual relationship with each other. Their relationship takes, like, more focus than it's allowed to in the movie. Because essentially he goes to the cafe for a while. They break into the school. They have the skinny dipping thing. And then the next night they go to a festival. They don't say what the festival is for. But then while they're watching the fireworks, Rezi reveals that she is not a 16-year-old girl. She is, in fact, the Bomb Devil. These are spoilers for this movie. I feel like I've said it before, but I just want to make sure that, like, more spoilers are coming after this point of the film. So she's the Bomb Devil. And her whole thing was trying to, like, Denji's heart is something that the Gun Devil covets. It seems like all devils covet Denji's unique heart. The fact that it is like a symbiotic relationship between a human and a devil, as opposed to like Pochita. All Pochita asked Denji when he became the heart is to let him see Denji's dreams become realized. So it's not like anything grosser like that. It's not like Denji wants to touch boobs because the dog heart inside of him is like, if you don't touch boobs, then I'm going to kill you. Like, he's like, you just have all these dreams that you had to put aside because of your shitty experiences in life. So I want you to see those dreams realized, and I will give you my heart so you can do that. Like, it's almost like nice. It's for good reasons that the devil makes that contract with Denji. But everybody wants his heart. So then the reveal is that, like, while everybody is physically trying to possess Denji's heart, Rezi's approach to that was to win his heart romantically, right? So that if he pledges his heart to her, blah, 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 blah. So she reveals she's the Bomb Devil, and it turns into an all-out anime-style fight across Tokyo with her as the Bomb Devil. She's murdering other like public safety people. It's crazy visuals. And Denji learns some more about his powers and everything. And I'm not going to tell how it ends, but it ends like in this really kind of nice, poignant way. I will talk about the epilogue scene though, because that is the perfect way to sum up the difference between the sub and the dub. Because in the dub, they just make the whole thing more vulgar. Right? Way to go, American audiences and sensibilities. That, like, if they can add an extra fuck somewhere, they will. If they can have someone call someone a son of a whore instead of, like, an asshole, they'll do that. Like, it's just, he's just, like, kind of gross and horny. Majima in the sub, like, she almost seems kind of nurturing, but in the dub, she seems like a controlling, like, you do not trust her in the dub. And that is not because of, like, I know, like, ultimately what her goals are and what her powers are. It is, like, the way they direct the voice actor to, like, deliver lines. Like, she's very short and she's very authoritative, where, like, she's killing him with kindness in the Japanese dub. Like, he's choosing to follow her as opposed to, like, this is your demand that you follow me. But the final scene is he's waiting at that cafe to see if she'll come back. And in the English dub, the guy who owns the cafe, who's there for this whole courtship, he watches the whole courtship between Denji and Rezi. He's just like, you gotta go, kid, right? That girl's out of your league. And then the movie ends, right? Like, that's the after credit scene. But in the Japanese version, he, like, actually refers to him by name. And it's, like, a lot more sympathetic that, like, Denji, like, she's not gonna come. Like, that girl was always from another world, and you should just be happy that you got a little bit of time with her. And instead of trying to live in that, like, nostalgic memory and try to recreate it. Like, it's far more nurturing as opposed to him, like, being annoyed that Denji is there in the American dub. Like, I'm just like, what? Like, I never want to, like, that's always been this argument, right? Is the difference between dubbed anime and subbed anime. And weirdly, like, through Chainsaw Man, and it's not like I've been watching anime since I was like 9 years old, right? Probably earlier than that, right? I was watching Speed Racer very young. I watched Sailor Moon young, and great. They were all like American dubs, right? So they were all very different from what was experienced in Japan. I understand that.
Yeah, we're the generation that grew up with Toonami, so like, we were
right.
We were
but I was watching anime before
Toonami. To grow up with anime being a staple of television, not just a like. Not just like something you bought off of VHS tapes at a flea market.
Exactly. But like while we were Generation Toonami, because I remember in 7th grade where like my very close friend, like he went to visit his cousin and he came back like totally, I'm an anime guy now. Like I remember that moment. And that's why we're not very close friends anymore. I'm still pretty close with his brother though. I'm thankful for that. That like all that investment didn't get completely washed away down the drain. That like me and his brother are still very close. But like I had watched it prior to like Toonami when everybody knew what it was. And I'm not trying to be a hipster or anything like that. It's just like, know that like I understand anime, but it is not until my 39th year where I fully understand the delineation and why people are so angry about the difference between a dub of an anime and the subtitle of an anime, and the differences that are made to the story or like made to the characterization by how we put English words over them. Because it was, I mean, even seeing the movie, I saw the movie, I thought I was getting to see the subbed version, then the dubbed version, but I'm an idiot, right? I definitely touched on this. I thought it was a 10 a.m. and then 11 p.m. It was a 10 a.m. and a 1 p.m. show. But no, it was a 1 p.m. for the dubbed version and then a 10 p.m. for the subtitled version of it. And I'm like, but I want to see it both ways, right? I only ever watched the show subtitled and I loved it. Watching it dubbed, I don't think I would have loved the show the way that I enjoyed the subtitled version of it. Like, it just goes too far with how horny the kid is. Like, I get that he's 16, but there's, like, a level of disgust, right?
Yeah.
It is completely, like, there's a scene in the movie where he's, like, trying to go to sleep, and he's thinking about the women in his life, and he's, like, who he could be attracted to, like, why Majima is the one that he has chosen, and he talks about, like, all these other people he works with, and he has like little like fantasies of them. They're not like disgusting, because we'll touch on that whole part of it, that big complaint. We'll go a little deeper into that, but they are like moments where like if he could see himself with these people, and I think that's like a very normal, natural thought that you have when you're growing up. Like that doesn't seem that gross to me. To be like, You're like, I'm suddenly noticing the opposite sex or the same sex as I mature and go through puberty and start to have those feelings of like attraction to another human being. And that moment is handled like, it's handled really well, but like the Japanese version of it was not as disgusting as the American version of it. For something that, like, I think everybody has that moment, right? Well, I guess, you know, like, asexuals might not have that sort of thing, right? I can't deign to fully understand the entire spectrum of sexuality, right? I wouldn't even want to begin to say that I could do that. But I feel like it's a very human moment to have that moment where you're like, oh, wow, like, that's a different feeling I have towards that person than I've ever had in my life before as the hormones start flowing. And
no, I get you.
yeah. I know. I certainly hope that this isn't going to be the thing that gets people to be like, "What the fuck is he?" No, it's a thing. I think it's very human, and I think they do a good job capturing it because, like, having a crush on an older, like, beautiful woman and somebody who the first time in your life treats you like a human being, even though she's kind of treating him like an animal, like a pet this whole time. But you get it, right? It's why a lot of people's first crushes are on like a teacher or other authority member. Right? Like it's not right? And then it's the problem with like grooming and stuff like that is when that older person who's supposed to know that there's a line, right, that crosses that line or just ignores that line to take advantage of someone young who has feelings for them. That's where that problematic part comes in. But yeah, like a lot of people's first crush is probably on a teacher, right? And I think that like they do this good job of explaining how like, oh, I thought I loved this woman, but like I think I actually love this girl who is my age, who has a similar experience to me, who I connect to on like she takes him to go see art movies, Majima, right? Rezi just wants to like, let's go break into the school after hours so you can see what it's like. Let's go skinny dipping. Like those are things that like kids do.
Right.
Sorry, I just it's that. But
I've actually told you my favorite example of this. Is not even a sub versus dub conversation, but a British film brought over to America.
Are we talking about The Magic Roundabout, aka Dougal?
Yeah. So Dougal, oh man, Dougal is this old IP, right? In England, like it's a very, very old concept of, a bunch of magic toys go on adventures, right? Magical adventures together. And part of what they use to go on magical adventures is a magic carousel or a roundabout, as it's referred to in England, right? And so it's all about using the magic roundabout to go on adventures, right? So there's a movie in 2004. They make a film version of this, and it's not like Dougal's been like on consistently or anything. So it's not like there's like a main cast to tie itself to. So the cast gets to go like all out in like who they get. They get fucking Robbie Williams to play Dougal. like as much as we could joke about how much we don't know who Robbie Williams is over here, but like that's like a huge pull right there. Then you have like Tom Baker, Jim Broadbent in there, Ian McKellen, Bill Nighy, Kylie Minogue, right? So they decide to bring this movie over to America, and for some reason, just completely recast the movie. You have some kid by the name of Daniel Tay. I don't know if I should know who that is that plays Dougal. I don't know. But like Jimmy Fallon is in the mix now. Whoopi Goldberg, William H. Macy, Chevy Chase, Bill Hader. I love this. John Krasinski is just credited as additional voices, meaning that John Krasinski just came in to do just background work.
Yeah, that happened.
But like, what ends up happening when the movies come out is what happens is when Dougal, it's called Dougal in America, it's called The Magic Roundabout in the UK. When Dougal comes out, it's just panned. It's just not. It is just given all sorts of crap for some crude humor and there being some flat acting, shall we say. There's not much that people latch onto or care about and all of this stuff. And for a kids movie, it's like, it's rough. Like, it's like, even for a kid's movie, this is probably not worth your time, parents, is the basic attitude, right? But if you go and see the Magic Roundabout reviews, people adore it. And if you watch the two movies, you see why. I don't know what the hell is going on, but in the American one, there's like more sarcasm, there's added farts everywhere, like unnecessary farts, like off screen. Like, it's really weird. Like, there's a whole bunch of shit that they add to the American one. And you're just like, why didn't you just put out the one that came out that had, good actors in it that are actually nowadays well known? I'm sure that like even at the time, like my dad knew who Tom Baker was. If I ever told him I was going to go see a movie with Tom Baker in it, he'd be like, Doctor Who?
Yeah, Daniel Tay, just because you're like, I'm supposed to know who he is, his biggest role is Michael Hobbs in Elf. So he's James Caan's younger son. So that's like what his claim to fame was. He's also in Artie Lang's film Beer League. He was young Harvey Pekar in American Splendor. So like we're going to talk about a movie that has Daniel Tay in it outside of this conversation about Dougal, which that's something that I'd really like if we were like in the same location. If we were going to do a Dougal versus the Magic Roundabout episode. I'm going to be honest with you. And then he's also in the movie Brooklyn Rules, which I think was shot around Rhode Island, or like it was at least creative people from Rhode Island. Because I think I went to like an extras call for that movie. Yeah, it was Boston. It was released in Boston was its first release. So yeah, so that's Daniel Tay. But yeah, I remember you telling about me. That's one of the reasons why we're friends, like just straight up, is you were losing your mind over the Magic Roundabout Dougal thing, and like nobody wanted to give you the time of day, but I gave you the time of day, CJ. So I appreciate you all of these years later giving me the time of day on Chainsaw Man. But it does seem like people are really upset because, and they've said it, the creators of the movie said, there's a lot of like sexual content from the story in the manga that we felt we had to eliminate because it would be too much for like a theatrical film, which is crazy to me because it's rated R. And yes, like NC-17 exists, but there is this whole like skinny dipping scene that happens. And Rezi is not one of these characters with like long hair. So you see her exposed chest. She just does not have nipples. Like Mario has nipples, but Rezi doesn't. And I get it, right? It's not like one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get to see the anime 16-year-old girl's nipples. But like, I could understand if you're somebody who read the manga and then you're like, that's a weird thing to omit. And if you're not going to show that, then if they actually do, I'm going to look it up, right? Spoilering it right now for myself. If Denji and Rezi have sex.
In the manga?
In the manga.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the... So the rating on Chainsaw Man was R, right?
It was an R-rated movie, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it does look like Denji sleeps with Rezi in the last chapter. It does seem like it is a thing that may happen. That's from 5 years ago. So it does, Rezi, oh, these are X videos. Yeah, no, look at that. I don't want to click on that. Thank you. That's not what I was going for. So it does look like maybe their relationship was a little bit heavier in the manga, and that seems to be something that people are a little bit upset that they omitted from the movie. And honestly, on that one, I kind of get where you're coming from, like where you'd complain about that, because it almost seems like the reason that we're doing a movie is because the content of Denji and Rezi is too graphic for like a weekly anime series. But we'll put it into a movie. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are for the anime itself. You know, it's the big thing to consider is that it's only a season long plus a movie, and it's huge right now. Like, as far as like the zeitgeist around anime goes, like Chainsaw Man is top of the pack right now, right? So like, they must be expecting to be doing some more projects, whatever that may be, whether it's going to be continuing with movies and just kind of fitting the arcs more into this, or if they're actually going to get another season of the show.
I mean, by all accounts, there's supposed to be another season. It's weird that it hasn't happened yet. Like, I think it's because they went directly into the movie. Because that 12th episode definitely ends with Rezi showing up. Like, she shows up as sort of this, like, epilogue scene in episode 12. So people knew that the next thing that was going to be happening was the Rezi storyline. But, yeah. I don't know. So that seems to be, like, the bigger complaint about the movie is that, like, it's a movie, but they still didn't go as far as they did. But apparently, there's X video and all sorts of stuff online if you look up Rezi and Denji sex. So, like, there you go. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying the people have done it.
Just Googled that live.
Jesus, I was not. I almost.
Anybody ever wonders how Devin ended up on the list?
Yeah, it was this episode. This is how Devin ends up on the list. But again, and I will. And the last thing I want to share about the subbed experience was the costumes, man. Like, it was an event. It was a Tuesday night. It was very busy for a Tuesday night, and there were people in the costumes. And I know that costumes are like sort of frowned on at movie theaters for obvious reasons. Like, I don't want to talk about those reasons, but there are reasons why. But luckily, with an anime where most people are just like wearing business attire as they go about their jobs as public safety demon hunters. And then, like, they just have, like, scars on their faces or stuff. Like, there were a bunch of people who were in costume. There were a bunch of people with their little plush Pachitas. Like, and that was cool to see. It was exciting to see these people excited about it. What makes me sad for them, I'll admit that, is that at the dubbed performance, for every ticket I had, I got, and because Dale came with me, we each got a bag that like has beautiful artwork of Denji fighting Rezi in their more demonic forms. And then for the movie, everybody, the subbed one, everybody only got posters. And I'm like, man, those bags are way nicer than these posters. And there were 5 people in the dubbed version of this movie. There were 5 other people in the theater with me. And no, there were 5 people in the theater, including me and Dale. Very low turnout to see the dub of it. And I understand why, having seen the subbed. But it's like, these subbed people, they would have appreciated these bags that they could carry around and show the world, I'm a Chainsaw fan.
One might say that maybe they knew that their dub audience wasn't going to be that large, so they didn't spend the money on the marketing material.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They had about 100 of those bags. So I'm not sure. But I'm glad I did both of them, because because you talk about the Magic Roundabout, right? That is, let's say 20 years ago was when that happened, right?
Yeah,
that's roughly about right.
Yeah.
I think like 2000. I think it came out in 2006 in America, so like we'll say 20 years, right? It is crazy to me that as the world has gotten smaller because of the internet, right? I remember being in a 7th grade history class and talking about the world's getting smaller every day, not in like land mass or area, but because of how connected we are to each other. I mean, think about this. We are how many miles apart from each other and talking to each other like it's nothing, and it costs us $0 to do that. Like, we're able to record this podcast across, I'm curious right now, I'm gonna do it live, Rhode Island.
Be a stickler. Like, there are things that we are paying for in order to make this work, right? Equipment we purchased, electricity, things like that.
Yes, I mean, but it's not like there's no additional cost for it, right? Like, we have internet anyway for what we do. Like, I had the microphones and stuff that I use already. So let's see how many miles. 2,335 miles apart. That's the distance between just Rhode Island and Utah. I'm not going to give it like, I don't want somebody online to figure out the exact areas that we're both in, because I give the exact mileage between our 2 locations right now. But like 2,335 miles, that's not nothing. And we're talking in real time, able to record this podcast. One would hope that, like, if we're adapting something from another culture to American culture, that like I still don't understand why we have American versions of British sitcoms. Just released a British sitcom in America. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's always been a thing of like taste, you know, like some people think that they can't latch on to the same stuff, you know. I don't know. It's a hard conversation to have, because there's good examples all around. Like, there's good examples of it not working. There's good examples of it working just fine. There's examples of American versions being somewhat better than, right? Or, you know, or being their own thing, being something else entirely, right? Like, look at the difference between the House of Cards series that was on Netflix here and the original House of Cards miniseries that was over in England. Very different.
Well, like, look at The Office, too, right? And I wouldn't say that one is better than the other, but, like, successful, profitable, other ways that you would measure them, I mean, it's a fact. It is a fact that, like, there's still a reason behind it, but, like, that's a different animal than what we're talking about. Because it's not like the animation changed, right, for the American. Like, that was something I was curious about, and I'm like, it's crazy that they would do that. But also, when I'm about to watch the subtitled version, Like, you know, I already talked about it, right? I'm like, is that nude scene when they're swimming in the pool going to be different? Because we don't care. Like, we would care in America. Like, that girl is, like, canonically 16. Oh, my God, child porn. Oh, my God, Netflix, because they released a foreign show. They're all pedophiles. I don't even remember the name of that show. But, like, remember that whole thing?
Oh, the movie, the French film.
Yeah,
Cuties,
the French film. Yeah, the Cuties, yeah. Like that thing. But then I think about, like, in the actual anime that was dubbed and subbed for America, there's a scene where Himeno vomits, and that vomit is, like, censored. Like, you don't see the vomit. Like, it's censored. And I'm like, oh, like, that must be because in Japan you can't show vomit on TV? Like... Like, what's that about? Let's see what that's about real quick. Censored vomit. Chainsaw Man. And this is how I get another left. Yeah.
And more videos Devin didn't want to see.
Well, because, live on Japanese. That's why. That's it. Oh, man. So, yeah, that's it. It has to deal with that. That's the whole reason behind it, is just their thing, because this is going to air live on Japanese television. We do it. And it's that same sort of thing that I was talking about earlier with, like, the Letterkenny, where, like, season 12 in America edited out the F word referring to a homosexual man. But the Crunchyroll, no. What is it? Crave. The Crave version does not. And, like, that doesn't even fall into, like, I always think about that scene in the South Park episode where they say shit 163 times, where Mr. Garrison is saying that he can say the F word, but nobody else can. And that's because he's a homosexual character. Like, that doesn't even exist in that episode of Letterkenny. And it's just strange, right? Because it's a rated TVMA. It's only available on a streaming platform, but, like, there's still censorship stuff that comes into it. And that's another, like, that's a live action example of something where, like, the Canadian version is just being broadcast in America and American sensibilities are still being considered for that. So it's a whole thing about the world, right? Censorship of Sony PlayStation things. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But yeah, Chainsaw Man's good if you've not watched the series and you're interested in anime. It's a little, like Sejin said, this is buck wild. Is buck wild. Like, the series does not, like, take its foot off the gas from the first episode where your main protagonist is literally dismembered and then and then is resurrected because his chainsaw Pokemon gives him his heart. Like, that might be the most, like, God, like, the fourth episode, the Leech Devil. Sejin, I want you to Google the Leech Devil right now so that we get one realistic reaction from you in this episode.
Okay.
I don't want to send you a photo. I want to see what Leech Devil Chainsaw Man. Oh, there's no images. Then hit images.
Oh. Those are some nipples? Penis nipples?
I think they're like teats. I think it's supposed to be like reminiscent of an udder. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the Leech Devil. And that's just what she looks like on the TV. But I think because it's a monster, like it's something, it's also like the Leech Devil is dating the Bat Devil. Like, she talks about, like, you killed my lover and now I want revenge on you. It's a real interesting sort of episode.
Wild.
About, like, to see that, like,
wild.
devils are not just these mindless things. They live lives and everything. I don't know. It's a good show. I like the show. I really liked the movie. What you said, it's 97.99 right now. I understand that. Mm-hmm. I was a little surprised that it was a perfect 100. Because I could see, like, critics having a couple of small issues with it. But I think that 99 is solely because of the people who are like, it wasn't as graphic as the manga. Yeah, but that's because, like, the adaptation to anime from manga always kind of tones things down a little bit. Because it's going to be on TV. It's not a book where, like, you have to actively pick it up, crack it open. You could be flipping through the channels, and then suddenly there's the Leech Devil.
They played Kirby in this shot? Okay, sorry, never mind.
Yeah, they love video games. They love all sorts. It's a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah, there's what's the drop, King DDD drop or whatever. Anyway.
Sorry to send you down this pathway.
No, Debbie, this is awesome. This is cool. It's been, it's been hard for me to get too deep into any major series recently because I get worried that I'm going to fall down a rabbit hole of like 300 episodes. So like finding something like this where I know there's such a limited amount is cool.
Yeah, like I think that like the fact that there's like 293 episodes of Black Clover now, and by all accounts that is ended, and it makes me very sad. I will admit that. But like catching Black Clover from the beginning, that like night that I just had Adult Swim on, and I'm like, oh, I saw a commercial for this. Let's stop what we're doing and watch this episode. Like getting it in the beginning before there's thousands of episodes. Looking at you, One Piece. Like I love these people who are like, oh yeah, you should check out One Piece. You can skip the first 600 episodes though. Like cool. Like, first of all, I could skip 600 episodes of the show and be completely fine. But you're still telling me that that's 400 episodes I have to watch to get caught up. Like, jeez. So, yeah. So, while this one is still relatively small, again, the manga is huge. And you look at something like The Promised Neverland, where everybody was super critical of the second season because it adapted something like 40 different mangas into 12 episodes. Like, who knows what's going to happen with Chainsaw Man? That's the same thing. Because even looking at a little bit about Rezi on the Chainsaw Man wiki, like, it looks like she appeared in all sorts of, like, volumes of the manga, but then she's only probably ever going to be in this movie. Like, that's just a fact. That I can't imagine she'll ever come back. Even with things that we know about the end of the movie. So yeah. I watched another movie too. Are you alright if I just touch briefly on another? I want to share what was a very fun experience, which was being out to breakfast on, I think it was Wednesday? Right? Okay. Yeah. After taking Dale to a medical appointment, we had a little bit of time to kill before the next appointment that I had to take her to. So we went out to breakfast. And on the TVs over at the bar, it's a really interesting little breakfast place called Toast and Tap. They had on Scooby-Doo 2. Everybody Hates Chris, and then like an Ellen channel that is just like clips from the Ellen Show, but not full episodes of the Ellen Show, which like, fuck Ellen DeGeneres, so I didn't really care about that one. But Everybody Hates Chris was playing from the beginning of that series. I might watch Everybody Hates Chris, I'm just going to say that. And Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, I think that's a really good movie. I really enjoyed that one. In another timeline where we dedicated May to Alicia Silverstone and not Brendan Fraser, that'd be one of the movies we'd cover in Alicia Silverstone History Month. But we chose Brendan Fraser, and I feel bad for those guys in what I call Universe Alicia Silverstone. I know what guys I am jealous of, though. Universe Steve Buscemi. Those guys, they're living the high life. I like being me, Siege, I'm just going to say it. But after Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed ended, it was Amazon. So what do you think Amazon played after Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed? And in fact, you might actually know because I may have sent you a photo, but I'm just still going to ask. What you think?
I don't know. But I'm going to take a swing and say it was like something like Cabin in the Woods.
That would have been incredible. I like, without a lie, that would have been freaking incredible. If they're like, yeah, we're not expecting people to be watching this out in like the world. No, Pixels came on.
Oh.
And that made my fucking day. Because I really like Pixels. obviously we do a whole show where I kind of strong-armed you into making Pixels one of the pillars of our Adam Sandler cinematic universe. And the reason that I
strong-arm me.
No, I'm only kidding. But the only reason why I bring up Pixels is because director Chris Columbus of 1492 Pictures, he did a movie this year that released in August. It was a Netflix original. Do you know what that movie is, C. Jim?
Chris Columbus Netflix original?
Yeah.
No. What did he do this year?
He did, in association with Amblin Entertainment, The Thursday Murder Club.
Oh.
It is.
Okay.
It's Helen Mirren,
Pierce
Brosnan. Yeah, I was surprised to see he was the director. I didn't realize it until the end, but then when I saw his name, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. Because it was just the coziest, comfiest film. Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Ben Kingsley, Celia Emery. I don't know how to say her name. I also my mind is going blank on how it's spelt. Celia Imrie. Yeah, I did not have the M there. I just had the RIE. And I'm like, that's not right. There's another letter in that. Celia Imrie. They make up the members of the Thursday Murder Club. And they're all like, they're people, they live in like, not necessarily like, it's like a senior sort of like community. They live in this castle sort of thing that has been converted to be like a senior community. They all have full flats in it. Like Pierce Brosnan, he has a bar, like a full bar in his freaking flat. That's just awesome. And they get together every Thursday to talk about cold cases from a former member who was a inspective detective or detective inspector for the police in England. So they talk about these cold cases that she wasn't able to solve. And it's just like a fun way to keep their minds going and everything. But then suddenly murder comes to their little community and they say that they're going to solve it. And it was just delightful. It was just a delightful little movie. Hell of a cast. Because, like, those are your four mains, but then the supporting cast, I'm not even going to say any of the names. Because, like, it was just such a nice surprise to see all of these other big-name actors showing up. From,
amazing.
Like...
Yeah.
So, like, that was the movie my mother wanted to watch for her birthday. Much better than Nona's. Not that Nona's was a bad movie. Nona's was a slow movie. Like, and it was one of those movies where, like, oh no, an obstacle. Oh, we could just walk around that obstacle. Oh no, another obstacle. Like, but it's based on a true story, and like I'm familiar with this true story, so like I kind of know where this is leading. But not Thursday Murder Club is based on a book. Very good. The author has one other book I think that is done but not yet published. So like it has the potential to become a big series for Netflix if, you know, everybody stays around and he keeps producing novels. So if you're just looking for something cozy, like rainy weekend afternoon, just like to kill 2 hours, I recommend the Thursday Murder Club. That's the last thing Excellent. I wanted to just talk about on that one. Just a really good time. I think that's everything that I have for this week. I can't think of anything else. Like Halloween happened, but I don't know. Halloween's dying, and that kind of depresses the shit out of me. I had a conversation.
Yeah, we had a few people come this year, but definitely not the big crowds that I'm used to in my life.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody this week, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like we had a big like camping trip to celebrate Halloween a couple of weeks ago. I forgot Halloween was this week," and it's like, "Oh God, like you're not the only one." Because Target, it's all Christmas. It was this Christmas this week, and then it's just I don't know. And I get it. I mean, like Halloween was the type of holiday that would be uniquely affected by something like a shutdown a la the pandemic, right? Like we don't want to go see strangers or things like that. And, you know, our lives kind of went on without it, but it meant more Christmas time. And I don't know, like holidays, it's not just me, right? It's not just my cynicism. Like there's something out there in the world, right?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a post-COVID thing, is that people kind of got really shook up in their holiday traditions, when they couldn't do them for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So with that, I think there's a lot of people who are still trying to figure it out, like there are some traditions that people want to get back to really badly that some people just don't want to. It's hard. It's hard because priorities used to be so aligned in these moments, and they're not so much anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of sad, a little depressing. I'm not gonna lie. But I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. I didn't really complete. I did the Vampire Survivors, talked about that, World Series. Anything else you want to make sure we touch on before we send this one off?
No, I think this is it, man. No, we'll talk more next week. There's some stuff that we didn't touch on today, but I think that it'll be better if I get a little bit more time with it.
All right, excellent. So remember that, everybody. Remind me if you talk to me to let Sejin lead next week's episode so I don't stumble into a hour-long conversation about baseball. You know what? I'm going to give us a pat on the back, though, because you know how much time we dedicated to daylight savings and the changing of the clocks this episode? 0. And then when you roll back, that's less than 0. So take that. Man.
I didn't even realize that it happened. Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. If you've enjoyed the conversation, you can keep it going by joining us in our Discord server. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Go to our bios. You can click on the invitation and join to see all sorts of fun, like supplemental materials that support things we've talked about. I'll put up like a photo of Rezi in maybe I won't because it's kind of a spoiler. I'm actually not going to do that. But there will still be some conversation probably going over this, so join us. If you're not on social media, contact us directly. It's thesayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join the Discord so you can take part in all the fun. But if Discord is still a bridge too far in terms of social media, we get it. So you can just correspond with us via our Gmail account. So just send emails to thesayreport@gmail.com. And the most important thing to remember is that if you want to say something directly to me, Devin Decker, or to him, Sejin Sarowick, just put our name in the subject line, whichever name in the subject line you want to address, and we will make sure that is distributed only to the Say Reporter you are trying to get in touch with, so that your secrets, hopes, and dreams only go to Sejin. Because I get why you wouldn't want me to know them. That being said, if Sejin gets some crazy email and wants to talk about it during an episode, understand that anything you do submit to us is subject to being discussed on the show. I'll just hear Sejin's secondhand account of it. Or Sejin will hear my secondhand account of it. It's just, making sure everybody knows, it's transparency in our ever-changing, terrifying online world. With that said, thank you again for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. Happy birthday once more to my mother, Dorothy Decker. And William, please, take us home. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host, Devin Decker and Sejin Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report. And you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.